Recording in progress.
I wanted to talk about this amazing statement that I just heard that is evidence over affirmation. And it came from this very powerful young lady, young athlete. The Winter Olympics just finished, and I'm sure you've heard of her name, Eileen Gu, who I think she's got 5 medals, but she won, I think, 1 gold and maybe 2 silver at this Winter Olympics. I haven't watched anything really closely, but I've been following a bit of what she's been putting out because she's quite inspiring. She's very outspoken, young, 22 years old. Wow, I was not like her at 22, so I just love listening to her speak. And so she just was in one of those press conferences and I guess answering questions. And she said something that was just like, yeah, um, you know, I guess being in sport, and I have 2 kids that are playing a competitive sport right now. So I'm also really into this whole world, for good or bad, about competitive sport. But evidence over affirmation. And in the manifesting world, which is part of certainly what I dabble into and what I help people with, um, we forget about that there's always evidence. Now, there's a part of this where we're always looking for evidence, which I think trips us up and keeps us stuck where we are because we're looking to see where the changes are. And of course, in sport, you're kind of getting an immediate feedback on things because of the nature of whatever you're learning. But what I love about this evidence over affirmation is that affirmations are great, but they are stuck up here most of the time, right? It's in this realm we're kind of stuck affirming, and that's why sometimes just affirming won't make changes. And when I hear evidence, what I hear more is action. And I'm sure you've heard this before, but there's some where we believe or where we want to believe that I could just affirm all day, or I could just do that one meditation, and then I will have results of the thing that I want to manifest. Yet the part that we're forgetting is that we are here in a physical body, and in that physical body, we're meant to take action, right? We're meant to take some action where there's some evidence that something has changed. And most of the time, I really do believe things are changing, but we're looking maybe for the wrong evidence, right? We're looking for the final outcome, but not seeing all the things that have changed between now and when that's coming. And I can think to a client session that I had recently where, she was kind of trying to say that she's not a completely different person, but, these things have changed, but yet you are a different person. You are responding differently to life. You are not reacting the way you used to. You're not doing all those things that you did that kept you really stuck. So there is evidence that you are changing, right? And because you're taking action. So nothing wrong with affirmation, um, but it is about taking the action every day. And it can be small action. And certainly a meditation is an action. So I do believe that that is an action, right? Because you are setting time aside to align with what you are believing in that moment, whether it's a imaginative meditation or a meditation to just be a meditation to change your state. I mean, there's lots of reasons and why you can use meditation as a tool. Um, and so just don't be stuck on looking for the big evidence, but noticing that there's little bits of evidence that are coming at you every day or that are trying to reflect back to you that things are a little bit different. And sometimes it's just even physical symptoms that we're not noticing. We have less head pressure, we have less stomach aches, we are feeling a little calmer, we're sleeping just a little bit better. we're waking up with just a little bit less brain fog. All of these things is the evidence that what you're doing every day, what your intention and attention is put towards of the things that you want to shift are actually happening. So I thought it was a really wonderful statement that we do, and for me, what I heard from it is we do have to take action towards our goals, right? It is wonderful. Absolutely, you have to be clear on what you want. You have to know what you want. It's great to write it down. You should write it down. You should have clarity on all that. And then you take whatever action steps are inspired for you. So it is taking that inspired action. And what I've been leaning more towards these days more and more is getting clear on what I want, and then taking that time for some space, whether it's I sometimes just sit for 5 minutes and I stare out the window. I don't necessarily meditate, but I just create a little bit of like kind of like rest. I'll even lie down. And then because I've done this so many times, I have absolute trust that when I give myself some space to rest and I give myself just that space, that I always have an inspired action that I want to do afterwards. Not because I'm looking for it, not because that's why I'm doing it, because I just have learned to trust this now, that when I get out of the way, meaning I stop overthinking, I just sit and I rest in silence, I just allow myself to be, because that's all I need to do, that some intelligence comes in and I just have the feeling to do something, and then I go do that thing. And generally it's a good feeling thing, whatever it is. And then I go move on to the next thing that I want to do, and then the next thing. And so there's all this action that's happening, and it's all this evidence that's happening. And it's more than just the affirmation. And again, I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong. There's something wrong with affirmation. I think affirmations are great because we do need to change our thoughts as well. If we're having thoughts that are mainly negative and mainly in some sort of limiting loop, then it is important to start changing those thoughts and to have some new affirmations to start installing in your system. And then just move, do something, even if it's a walk, even if it's like tidying some portion of your house that, has been messy for a few days and you just want to tidy that up. That's an action. That's an action towards doing something that feels good and is in alignment and that you want to do. And it's just movement. I mean, all of the stuff, I feel like it just comes down to moving. I did a video before on chronic thinking. And if you think about chronic thinking, we're kind of usually like in a stuck feeling, all the times that I think if I'm chronically thinking, I'm not actually moving. I'm sitting, I'm lying in bed, but once I get moving, like doing the laundry, going for a walk, cleaning the kitchen, making my bed, it doesn't matter. It's a small little thing, but I'm moving because I think we just need to move the energy through our body most of the time. We don't have to be so consumed and concerned about what we're getting right or wrong. We just need to move and be present while we're moving. And then things just fall into place. Like, the next step gets shown to you, things unfold. And that is a trust muscle, of course, and I can appreciate that everyone's not in that place. And I know because I've worked with people that their chronic state that they're in it can be very severe, and it does take a little bit of time and using that trust muscle and trying out these things and trusting somehow you'll get to where you need to get to, because you probably have evidence, again back to the evidence, that this has worked out before, or something like this has worked out before, or things work out. I often have this in client sessions. They'll say, I actually do have evidence that things work out for me. But we just forget, right? Because we get stuck in a loop in our mind. So, yeah, anyways, that was just a little um, observation and awareness around that, action. I think a lot of the time is going to trump affirmations. You know, Everything has its place, but just keep getting out there, keep coming back to your body, keep coming back to the present moment, and allow life to unfold for you gently and easily. It's possible. It is the way it's supposed to work. You're not supposed to suffer. That's not what we're here for. But we are here to grow, and there are challenges, but we can grow through those challenges with grace and ease. And maybe not all the time, and that's okay, because we still learn from that. So thank you again for being here with me and for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.